So, some good news and some bad news. I've been at it for a while, but not really. So, run keeps falling apart to ambushes and dots mainly. We don't have enough health to outscale everything, and it kind of goes back to the point I tried to make a few times about the necessity of the blacksmith, especially for long-term runs, where you've caught up to your scaling in terms of relics, and you just want to push a bit further, because obviously I could go back to level 1, or even 100,000, go from there, still earn a decent amount of money, start boosting the relics more, all these types of situations. I think the best thing to do is to reincorporate the blacksmith and his use of defend. That way, whenever we do get ambushed, he's the only one getting tagged, and it's just a lot more manageable and should last a lot longer. The other big thing is, if we do lose a party member, especially on this gold farm run, we obviously lose quite, well, not a lot, but what is it, 2.56? To say we lost this huntress, we lose 0.5. So it is somewhat substantial, and something we want to obviously try to avoid. So, how can we do it? Well, the simplest thing I can think of is scan the Dark Mage, grab the Blacksmith, and have him alternate between taunting and using a Phantasmal Claw. But in looking at him now, he only has one slot. That is slightly worse. We don't need the Huntresses for the gold run, because we don't need the cooldown. But I could also get use out of, say, the Janitor, who doesn't have a whole lot of uranium buffing. So we could give him the Phantasmal Claw, and then run like the Blacksmith, the Janitor, and then the normal comp. Essentially, everyone but the Janitor and the Tavern Owner is replaceable here. And we're cutting back to the point where we're sort of pushing the Blacksmith to be a necessity along with those two. Obviously, for the main run, Janitor, the Tavern Owner, and the Wizard are the priority, and you would like to run 3 Huntresses for the cooldown for warping, but I can see running the Blacksmith and 2 Huntresses just to make a stable run that you can obviously leave for however long you want to leave. It would be great to go infinite. I have puzzled it in my head a few times. I don't think you could get enough consistent procs on the Soda Stein to actually outscale the dungeon scaling. The only way I could think of doing that is if you didn't grab all the relics, all the level up relics. So if you just cut down these to obviously the classes you use, or even better yet, none of them. You go into like your final long-term run without getting any character to 50, but that just seems like painful hassle, because then all the Soda Stein's proccing is between these 7, which makes it a lot more manageable, and a greater chance of obviously getting health, damage, everything you need to scale. But anyway, we're still running gold farm because I want to get to 500 trillion. Tempted to toss it all in though, because this is quite a lot of essence. You know, it's substantially more than we have now. That's millions, so billions, so 59 billion. We could do a great deal with it. It would probably be around 50 levels of the health relic. But I think I'm going to get to 500,000, and then we'll grab the oddie shop, the treasure room treasure. I still feel like the bosses are the more impactful thing, whether or not to save for that. But anyway, enough talk. I will figure out how I want to equip the Blacksmith and roster him into the run. A few big changes. For one, currently the comp is actually 0.07 less gold multiplier. But that's not a big deal, because the idea being that on the Tavern Owner I will eventually swap out the Malachite talismans with 2 more Labradorite talismans, and the Blacksmith has almost 95% damage reduction. If I played his stuff with uranium or anything, it would do the trick. I don't think it's too necessary at the moment, but the general idea is we don't have to worry about withering, so we're only at 14% withering, simply because of the Blacksmith's damage reduction. And then since he has the mask and is the only one being targeted, it should, even if it gets to the point where he's getting out DPS'd, his inbuilt health regen thanks to the relic should keep him alive, and it should make him manageable. The only thing you might want to swap is, instead of mask, run the prevents all status effects, or give him the mop slash cleansing wand. Tempted, but I would like to still run the Midas Sword. I guess you could still run the Midas Sword on the Tavern Owner. I think it would boost, currently it boosts our gold higher, right? Yeah, back to 2.39. But we lose out once we get the talismans, and then you just give him the mop or the cleansing one, whichever one you have unlocked, and that way he can't die from normal hits and he always purifies himself. I think safety-wise, this is probably going to be the best comp. Speed-wise, I don't know if it'll be faster. It might be a bit slower because of his, obviously, taunting. I think we clocked out at 1800 floors. So he taunts, and then we just get attacked. You're using a basic attack instead of... Why is that? Need to check that. And also, it shouldn't really matter who you run the Kloo on. The inbuilt magic multiplier doesn't really do anything. So what is going on with you? Enemy any Noxon Phantasmal Claw. Ah, you know what? Because we just unlocked him. I have not set him. Yeah. Problem solved. Easy peasy. Everyone is set. Looks like it. Cool. I do have to resave because it's really annoying. It's nice that this saves what scripts are on, but I wish it was per character slot then, rather than overriding the whole character compendium. So we can bin you, grab you, you should be working now. The claw. Yeah, so it should be going fine. Ooh, what happened there? Did he not have enough damage? Ah, he doesn't have enough damage. That's interesting. I should also turn ore off. That is... Ooh, a bit unsettling. He doesn't have enough damage to clear. Let's just grab both of you guys. I just want to see what their damage is like. If it should be comparable, because they don't have much going for them. And it's all the relic base. Yeah, so you're not one-shotting either. In fact, it looks like, well, because of equipment, you're probably doing less. Interesting. Yes, full uranium, so that would be boosting his damage as much as possible. I wonder if he does more physical damage. Boost all stats, this attack increase. I'm curious. It should do overall, because I mean the other mage was doing 745 and he was doing 3.1. We might have to take a few steps back. At least from the primal lands. Which one's magic? This one. You should. And we can't even boost it 1,000. The withering, man, that's the issue. Because we're no longer pushing down the health enough. I guess it is impactful more so than the janitor, than the blacksmith. Still want the blacksmith to obviously tank. But I guess we want to run as much withering on him as possible. So what are we at? We're at 29%, which is hardly any. Have to give him the bit blade. It's only 52. Even if we swap this over, it's only 60% withering. So we'd have to drop gold gain to meet the withering cap. Bit unfortunate. Multiplies down to 2.56. It was over 3, wasn't it? I feel like if we just take steps back then and go for gold, it might work out better than going for progression at this moment. No, we ended up with more gold because of the armor. What to do? Your damage reduction is still... What is it? all the way down here, 23%. It's not horrible, it's not great. The Withering Gem should bump it up, yeah. 74, I guess we can try. We're still taunting, we're easily clearing. That's about bosses. We have 1.7, so we're still above. I'll have to see. So I think we got to about 10 bill an hour. Let's see what it's at. He still took quite a bit of damage though. I guess you could run a nurse, but then there's no way to taunt. This is a big thing I'm really curious about now that we're at the end-ish game. At all the best comps that people have shown, I have my severe doubts that they're not consistent. That you can't leave them for a substantial period without them obviously failing. Like even say a warp comp that is completely dedicated to just the wizard being as fast as possible. There's no survivability, and you get to the point where your warp scaling, because of all the enemies increasing so much, is just going to demolish your comp. Because there's no way around ambushes. I'm pretty sure the Huntress in the first game did prevent ambushes, but unfortunately doesn't do it here. Yeah, you need the mask. Did I leave the mask on him? I can't remember now. I didn't turn ore off either. It does run somewhat decent. And a few other things I have seen. Low power mode, turn off. I think VSync you want on, and this boosts the frames essentially. So whatever our floors per hour should go up slightly. Force auto comeout's fine, allow it to run. Obviously it just is more demanding in the background. What to do? Because I really just want a consistent build to accomplish all our goals. Like, I'd love to just be able to leave the gold farm comp up for, who knows, a few days till we get to 1.5 quadrillion gold, and then I can buy the other stuff, and then we can work on warps and still do the same thing. I'd like to just leave a comp permanently open, if that's even possible. What are we at? Withering, only 70%. Gold Find, 2.56, so slightly better. I think that's what we were at before. Item Find is low, that's fine, and we just want to turn ore off. And it should help boost our gold slightly. We have to remember to turn on once we start spending credits. Yeah, there's nothing really else to say. Just grinding out the gold. Hopefully it's survivable. So, some good and bad news. Our gold, this is the good news by the way, has gone up by around 50%. So we were at like 8.2 trillion per hour, and it's going to be maybe 13 to 14 trillion. And that is mostly because we're past like higher in levels. I did have to change the comp a little bit again, so we're still running into issues, but I think I've come up with a strategy that's far better for the blacksmith, even at normal progression runs. So the blacksmith is geared towards damage reflection. If we get ambushed, you'll be able to see, but I don't control that. Yeah, so in a like warp build with the wizard, I would still see this as being best in slot. A, it's controllable, so it prevents everyone else taking damage, and B, he deals with the ambush on their attack, meaning it's one less animation, because instead of them attacking, well, he's got Tangerud on now. That's one thing I have to change, so that was not quite what I wanted to show. But yeah, so when he does do reflect damage, it clears out the spawn before any of us have to take actions. Damage him, please. Oh, come on. 2 in a row. I swear the evasion on the Tangerud isn't that much either. I'm only running it because I wanted to hit the Withering cap, obviously for progression and just getting FPH to as high as possible. Gold Find isn't the issue, so Withering will be a lot easier to set up. But the other addition is, of course, the nurse. So the nurse, for two reasons. One, it cuts down on healing fairy animations. So setting up the healing fairy is very hit or miss. If you set it to a low bracket, for instance, so you only select the healing fairy when the party comp is below, say, 20% HP, you run the risk of not finding healing fairy between when you hit that bracket and obviously when you die. If you set it too high, then all of a sudden you're taking every single healing fairy, and that's just going to slow everything down by quite a lot. So the alternative to that is, of course, to run a nurse, and the nurse is just set to 50% HP, because I believe they heal statistically 51% of HP from the scaling. Yeah, so it wasn't quite full because he's obviously under 50%, and that way you get the least amount of nurse activations, which is what you want, because obviously we're just trying to cut down on animations, but it has made the comp a lot more survivable. If we get any status effects, doesn't really matter, because poison on that, we're just going to heal through. Damage reflection is done through the ambushes. We never get set far below half HP. So all around, it is slightly slower. I think I got this up to 2,500, just using the janitor in position 1 and bursting everything down. But I'm very confident that I could run this comp. Oh, that's the wrong one. I could run this comp overnight, even for a few days, and unless we severely lose out on damage, so like our damage amount and our health brackets come closer into the range of what the enemies are, we're fine, we're golden. So yeah, pretty good. It's definitely one I'm going to use to get to 1.5 quadrillion gold. Just going to take a little bit. So what is it? Yeah, it'll be about 14 trillion an hour. Don't even need a calculator because that's simple math. We just times it by 100. So it should be 100 hours to get to the amount. Well, actually, because we can minus that. So not quite 100 hours. It'll be, what, 66% of 100 hours. So 66 hours. So 3 days, roughly. Ooh. Hopefully I've recorded enough to keep stuff going at a steady rate. This is probably going to be the largest, like, gap between episodes where I have to record, or I can't record a lot anyway. But yeah, I think that will end this one off, so hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something. If you've got any helpful tips, do tell me. I really like that we're working as a community and, you know, helping speed up my progression. It's really helpful, and I'm hoping I'm helping you guys. Thanks for watching. See ya. Oh, I wish I got that on camera, or could have seen it myself. So I've come back, and obviously the blacksmith has annihilated the party through his reflection damage. Oh, although that's not too hard of a fix. We just need a delirium gem on him instead of withering. That's just a funny way for it to end. Or we could put the nurse first and give her the mob. Yeah, debatable. I think just losing the 8 is better. Anyway, back to it.